Well, day 11 at Roland Garros gave us more proof that this tournament clearly does not care about seedings, reputations, or expectations. The court of seeded nightmares, Philippe Chatrier, claimed more victims. The Maja Chwalinska fairy tale somehow got even bigger. Diana Schneider took out a world number one. Flavio Caboli booked a maiden slam semi-final, and the Italian men are guaranteed a finalist at Roland Garros. For the Aussies, unfortunately, it was a rough day as all of their players in action bowed out. So today we've got plenty to talk about. We'll recap the Aussies. We'll talk about the huge women's quarterfinals, the men's story so far, and then we'll look ahead to day 12. We'll note the Matteo Arnaldi and Matteo Berrettini quarterfinal is still in action as we record due to some other commitments. Unfortunately, we won't recap that at this point. But with no men's action tomorrow, we'll bring that back to you as we look ahead to the men's semi-finals when we get to the day 13 preview in a day's time. So welcome back to your French Open Daily Dose. Before we rip in, make sure you do click like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel to keep yourself up to date with all of your tennis news, and let us know who takes it out from here in the men's and the women's, who's going to hold aloft the trophies on Philippe Chatrier in a couple of days' time to celebrate winning what has been one of the more remarkable Grand Slams in recent memory in terms of performances. So let's start with the Aussies, and it was a tough day. Unfortunately, it was more bad news on day 11. Ellen Perez and Demi Scherz went down in straight sets in the women's doubles quarterfinals. They were beat by the second seeds, Anna Danilina and Alexander Krunic. Final score was 6-2, 7-6. That ends the last main draw Aussie hopes at Roland Garros. We did, of course, have Jim Woodman in action in the quad wheelchair singles. He went down to Israel's Guy Sasson 6-2, 6-2. And our junior boys in the doubles action, Daniel Jovanovski and Mustafa Iga Sik, they were eliminated in a match tiebreak in their second round match. So not the day we wanted from an Aussie perspective. Perez falling in the doubles. Woodman exits the wheelchair singles, and the junior boys bow out. And the green and gold campaign in Paris is closing out with a whimper. So a little disappointing there, but nonetheless, wonderful to have had Aussies to talk about this far through. Let's move on to the day 11 women's recap, and let's talk about Maja Chwalinska. The fairy tale is alive and absolutely flying. She's now surged into the top 30 in the live rankings. Phenomenal to think. From struggling to make slam main draws early this year to qualifying to a Grand Slam semi-final. This is one of the great stories of the tournament. And on day 11, she was simply too patient, too composed, and too solid for Anna Kalinskaya. Chwalinska beat the 22nd seed 7-6, 6-3. This wasn't a fluke. This was not just a player riding emotion. She was patient. She was controlled. She picked the right moments. And even when Kalinskaya fought back in that first set and forced a tiebreak after being a couple of breaks down, Chwalinska kept finding answers. The first set was massive. She had upper hand. She saw them challenged. She could have blinked, but she did not. And once she took the tiebreaker, she pushed on and secured another momentous victory, calmly serving it out. This is now beyond a nice run. This is career-altering. She's now won 8 matches in a row on the Roland Garros clay. She's come into the tournament through qualifying. She's been living well outside the spotlight. She grew up in the shadow of Iga Swiatek, 2 Polish juniors coming through together. She's now 1 win away from a Grand Slam final and 2 away from emulating her countrywoman in Swiatek. Chwalinska is no longer just a fairy tale. She's a semi-finalist, a top 30 player, and now will go likely from qualifying to being seeded at the next Grand Slam at Wimbledon. She's a living reminder that in Grand Slam tennis, one fortnight can change everything. But that wasn't the biggest result of the day for the women. The biggest result was Diana Schneider eliminating world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka. The 25th seed came from a set down to take out the tournament favourite 3-6, 7-5, 6-love. And this was wild. Sabalenka led 4-1 in that second set, so she was up multiple breaks. Then she was serving for the match at 5-4. She was 2 points from victory, and it all collapsed at 5-4. Do the math from there, and you realize that from that point on, Chwalinska claimed 9 games straight to seal that last set in a bagel. Sabalenka's wait for a French Open title continues. The 4-time major winner looked in control in this one, but in the windy conditions, frustration started to build. And from the brink of victory, as I said, she lost the last 9 games. She lost 12 of the last 13. It's staggering. Schneider, playing in her first Grand Slam quarterfinal, did not just hang around. She took over, saw the opportunity, she absorbed the moment, and rode out the Sabalenka power. When the world number 1 began to unravel, Schneider put her foot down and went for the victory. That's now 2 huge scalps and former Grand Slam winners in a row. Madison Keys, Aryna Sabalenka. Taking down the world number one is no mean feat despite the fade out. Schneider has not just arrived in the semi-final, she has kicked the door in. Sabalenka had the match in her hands, but Schneider ripped it away. And from 4-1 down in the second, the young lefty turned the world number one into another victim of the court of seeded nightmares. The men's day 11 recap, as I said, will only be focusing on one side here. The Arnaldi and Berrettini match is still in play, still in the first set as we record. But in the men's draw, Flavio Caboli broke new ground. The 10th seed came from a set down to grind past 4th seed Felix Auger-Aliassime and book his maiden Grand Slam semi-final and lock in an all-Italian semi-final. The final score, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. This is a big-time response. FAA took the opening set in tough, windy conditions. Caboli had to reset, and he did. After the first set, the roof was closed on Philippe Chatrier. The match changed. Caboli found cleaner patterns. He got more comfortable from the baseline, and he kept asking questions. He won 3 sets by the same scoreline. It was not easy. It was not comfortable, but it was mature. Caboli spoke afterwards about how the match changed. He said the first set was incredibly windy and tough to play. Then he used the break to think, reset, and change something. He said this is the best court he's played in his life because it allows him to bring his best tennis. That line matters because in a tournament where so many players have been crushed by the moment, Caboli looks like he's growing into it. The top half of the men's draw has absolutely been a land of opportunity since Jannik Sinner's shock second-round exit. Caboli's taken full advantage, and he's into his first major semi-final. And for mine, he is an absolute red-hot chance to take this out. He's also guaranteed to face another Italian in the semi-final. He'll face the winner of Matteo Arnaldi and Matteo Berrettini, which means Italy is guaranteed a men's finalist at Roland Garros. That's enormous for them. They've been a dominant force in men's tennis in recent times, but especially when they lost a couple of their players early, headlined by Sinner, it looked like this might have been a down tournament for the Italians. But these guys have reset, Caboli, Arnaldi, Berrettini, and marched strongly forward with the Italian flag. Caboli lost the first set, reset under the roof, and then played like a man who understood this was the opportunity of a lifetime. As I said, Italian set finalists guaranteed now. Arnaldi and Berrettini will fight out for the right to play Caboli. Italian tennis thought it was in the doldrums with Sinner and Darderi out, Massetti not in action, but Italy will still have a man in the Grand Slam final. That is absolutely phenomenal for them, so we can't wait to see how it plays out. Let's turn to day 12. The match is not to miss. We are getting right down to the business end. No men's singles action on day 12. We will have the mixed doubles final to get things started on Philippe Chatrier, which is exciting. The first of our trophies to be decided. It'll be the number one seed, speaking of Italians, Sara Errani and Andrea Vavasori, and they'll come up against Gabriela Dabrowski of Canada and Evan King of the US. The number one seeds, as you would expect, will head in as favourites, but as we've seen, nothing gets played out on paper at this edition of Roland Garros. But we also have 2 women's semi-final matchups, 2 maiden slam final spots available. 4 players with very different stories, 1 veteran-level breakthrough, 1 teenage superstar push, 1 Ukrainian history maker, and 1 qualifier turned fairy tale. So much to look forward to and get into. Let's start with Mira Andreeva, the 8th seed, up against Marta Kostyuk, the 15th seed. There are so many storylines here. Andreeva chasing her first Grand Slam final. Kostyuk also chasing her first Grand Slam final, but already on completely new ground in her first semi-final. She's already taken out Iga Swiatek and Alina Svitolina back-to-back, so the name of Andreeva will hold no fear. This is a serious path. And, of course, there is the underlying Russia-Ukraine tension. Andreeva Russian, Kostyuk Ukrainian. It always undersits all of these matches when they occur. This does not need to be overplayed, but it's impossible to ignore. There is emotion around this match before we even get to the tennis. For the path to the semi-final, Andreeva's been clean. She's looked controlled, composed, and clinical. Her quarterfinal win over Sestao was ruthless. Love and 3. No drama, no panic, no letting the Sestao farewell story build. Kostyuk's path has been more explosive. She's had to take those big scalps, headlined by Iga Swiatek and Alina Svitolina. She's riding belief, but the question now is whether she can back up 2 massive emotional wins in a row and make it a third. Andreeva's going to want her baseline control, her patience to stretch Kostyuk side to side to force one more ball. Kostyuk has to lean into the power of first strike, forehand acceleration, and emotional intensity. She needs to make it feel like it's her moment and her show on Philippe Chatrier. This could certainly come down to composure. Andreeva has the cleaner rhythm. Kostyuk has the bigger emotional wave. If Kostyuk can keep the aggression controlled, she can win. If Andreeva absorbs and reflects, she should have too much. I think Mira Andreeva gets it done. It's going to be much tougher than her quarterfinal win, but I've got Andreeva winning this in 3. Kostyuk's already beaten champions and country women, but Andreeva looks cold enough, clean enough, and composed enough to turn this semi-final into her own arrival moment and take the opportunity. On the other side of the draw, we've got Diana Schneider, the 25th seed, up against Maja Chwalinska. What a story either way. Schneider is into her first Grand Slam semi-final after knocking out Keys and Sabalenka. That's no soft path. That is not luck. That is taking down serious names. Chwalinska, meanwhile, is playing on a free pass at this point. She came through qualifying, which for her was a solid achievement in itself. She surged her way through and surged from ranked 114 to 30 in the live rankings. She's gone from fighting to just make a slam main draw to being one win from a Grand Slam final and looking likely to be seeded at the next slam in England. Both players can dare to dream, and one of them is actually going to go on and live the next step of being a French Open finalist. Schneider's run is built on scalps, Keys, Sabalenka, big hitters, big names, big moments. She's shown she can absorb power, fight through adversity, and take over when the door opens. She'll go toe-to-toe with the big hitters. Chwalinska's run has been built on patience and belief. She's not been overwhelmed. She's not been overawed. She just keeps solving matches as they come. Against Chwalinska, she looked like someone who fully believes she belongs here now. Schneider's going to want to lean into her left-handed power, heavy patterns, and first-stroke pressure. She's going to want to put Chwalinska on the back foot. But Chwalinska is happy to defend. She's going to lean into variety, patience, and angles. She's going to slow the match down and make Schneider think. She'll be happy to hit the ball high, get that high bounce, and force Schneider to try and power her off the court. The key is whether Chwalinska can handle that weight of shot, though. Against Chwalinska, she could wait, absorb, and problem solve. Against Schneider, the ball's going to be heavier again. The punishment is bigger. The time will disappear faster. But this tournament, impossible has been happening daily. This one's a toss of a coin for mine. I think it goes to 3 sets, and I'm going to lean to Schneider just because she's got that little bit more experience. But this tournament's taught me one thing. It's taught me never write off anyone, especially a fairy tale story. Schneider has the big weapons, Chwalinska the fairy tale, and somehow, between power and belief, a Grand Slam finalist is about to emerge for the first time. I can't wait to see who it is. Maiden Slam finalists. They're going to be all around, it looks like, at this stage. It's absolutely opportunity knocking. So day 11's done. The Aussie campaign's come to an end. Chwalinska's fairy tale keeps on going, reaching the semi-finals. Schneider's eliminated the world number one. Sabalenka's wait for a Paris crown goes on. Caboli's booked a maiden slam semi-final, and Italy is guaranteed a men's finalist here at Roland Garros. This tournament's gone beyond chaos now. It is becoming legacy theatre. Day 12 gives us the women's semi-finals on Draver v. Koscheck, Schneider v. Chwalinska. 4 players chasing their first French Open final. 4 stories that would have sounded bold a week ago. And now 2 of them will play for the title. As always, if you're riding through with us through the French Open, make sure you hit like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know who makes the women's final and who have you got taking it out down below in the comments. For now, day 11's done. The fairy tales keep rising. The favourites keep falling. And Roland Garros is asking one final question. Who dares to take those final 2 steps forward and lift the trophy?